Okay, I'm from PBI B in Alauddin State Islamic University of Makassar. Okay, well, in this video, I will explain three materials that are concurrent with discourse analysis. Okay, the first is interactional spoken discourse. The second is transactional spoken discourse, and the last are three performance spoken discourse. Okay, saya akan menjelaskan materi pertama, yaitu tentang interactional spoken discourse. Interactional linguistics is the linguistics we use to build and maintain relationships. It can be compared to traditional linguistics, which normally carries a message and is the linguist used to get things done. To maintain interaction, a speaker uses interactional strategies. Okay, example for interactional spoken discourse. A small, tall, and conversion are example of interactional style, which refers to communication that primarily serves the purpose of social interaction. Small talk consists of short chain that usually begins with a greeting, move to back and forth a chain on non-controversial topics such as the weekend, the weather, war, school, dan lain sebagainya. And then often conclude with a fixed expression such as see you later. Such interactions are at times almost formulaic and often do not result in a real conversion. They serve to create a positive atmosphere and to create a comfort zone between people who make to total strangers. Okay, sedangkan implication of the interaction spoken discourse. The long-term goal for many spoken language system is the development of fully interactive abilities. In practice, of course, the discourse application currently being developed are ill-equipped to handle human speech spontaneously and are only capable of interactive dialogue in a very limited sense. One example of interactional constraints is the fact that system responses are usually more delayed than the average person converts. While the natural speed of humans dialogue creates efficiency gains in the task. It simultaneously challenges current computing technology to produce consistently faster response times. Okay, materi kedua yaitu tentang transactional spoken discourse. Transactional linguistics is language which is used to make a transaction and which has a result. It can be compared with interactional linguistics, which is used to maintain relationships. Research claims that speaking as transaction refers to situation where the focus is on what is said or done. The message meaning which make one understood clearly and accurately is the control focus. In our social lives, transactional speaking can be identified in terms of discussion, debate, job interview. Based on the analysis of the transactional discourse, it can be concluded that transactional spoken discourse has a discourse pattern which consists of three components also found in interactional spoken discourse. Initiation yang pertama, initiation atau response is well as follow-up. However, follow-up seems like optional in the transactional spoken discourse since many English native speakers tend to simplify their speech when they interact with other people. Okay, example for transactional spoken discourse. Learners in exam are often required to write transactional letters, which has a clear objective, asking for a referral or for information or making a complaint. In the classroom, transactional language is often taught more than in interactional language, as it involves store tones, simpler and more predictable language, and can have a measurable result. Kemudian, implication of the transactional spoken discourse. Teaching transactional speaking skill by using authentic teaching materials. Materials developed from integrating the information of discourse analysis will be very useful to help learners to interact naturally in transactional spoken discourse. And transactional spoken discourse such as in debate or in discussion. In addition, this effort will help the learners to avoid speaking which sound unnatural in transactional spoken discourse due to the use of unnatural English. Okay, the last material of performance spoken discourse. According to research, performance speaking is a type of spoken discourse that is aimed at transmitting information in front of an audience, commonly delivered in the form of monologue rather than dialogue, such as classroom presentation, public announcement, lecture, as well as speeches. Performance speaking can be illustrated as a process of communicating information to an audience by using a formal language and making speeches and oral presentation. Many people deem that performance speaking is very difficult to do for two main reasons. The first is speaking in front of a group of people requires high self-confidence in order to be able to handle their anxiety or stage fright when making a speech or a presentation to the audience. The next is the second of public speakers are required to make effective speeches when speaking. For example, is public speeches and oral presentation. Okay, well, conclusion dari materi. of the three types of discourse analysis, such pertama itu interactional spoken or linguist is the linguist we use to build and maintain relationships. The second is transactional linguist is a linguist which is used to make a transaction and which has a result. In other words, we can say that spoken discourse only function as a medium to establish social relationship between the participants, but also function to trans message being spoken. Ketiga itu, performance speaking can be illustrated as a process of communicating information to an audience by using a formal language, making speeches and oral presentation. Some of the three types that can be recommended both teacher and student are interactional spoken, because the meaning and example have been explained. If this interactional is a linguist interaction that is used to build and maintain something. Okay, maybe this all. I can say less and more. Please forgive. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.